Hey, it's Robert. We are at Comicpalooza 2013, and I'm here with Captain Robert and Daniel from Abney Park, if you didn't know, if you've been living under a rock. And so for anyone who has been living under a rock, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay, so we're in a band, and we make music, and we've been making albums for a very long time. I think we got about 15 albums, something like 150 songs released. And a few years ago now, we found out that the songs that we've been making seem to have this sort of running story going through. The Clockwork Boys and Steam-Powered Cities and all that kind of stuff. And so we've recently been expanding over the last couple of years. We've got a series of novels. We've got a role-playing game. There's a new board game coming out. So we've been sort of developing into this whole sort of world, which has been really cool.
And the world being, of course, steampunk, if anyone hadn't figured that out.
It's sort of our particular flavor of steampunk, too, which is, it's a little different. We've got a post-apocalyptic take on steampunk. What would happen if the world as we knew it now ended, which I think would be great. Yeah. And from that point forward, they sort of developed a Victorian aesthetic and went back to the adventurous life that they had at the Victorian times, but with a little reminiscence of the cool technologies that we have now. So it's sort of a merging of the two.
Yeah, I haven't gotten the chance to play the RPG, but I was reading through the books, and it looks pretty awesome. It's like you got like the automaton race and. Yep.
The RPG was actually written by Kickbread and Walton in London, and they did a phenomenal job of taking our world and making it into this playable genre. So there's a bunch of different classes of people. There's Sky Pirates, of course. There's Neo-Bedouins, which are sort of a tribal caravan living people that live in the wastes. There's also
the Misbegotten. Is another race, kind of like more of a mutant race, but the cast they've been cast aside in the Change Cage cities. And then there's the automatons and what other ones?
I feel like we're missing something. Oh yeah, and the Neo-Victorians, which are they're the sort of repressed people living in these giant coal power cities behind walls, not realizing that there's this adventurous world outside the walls. Yeah.
Kind of a homage to Metropolis, the old silent movie kind of.
Yeah, I would say that if you pictured the sets from Metropolis, it would give you a good mental image of what people are like inside the Change Cage cities. Yeah, definitely.
And if you haven't seen Metropolis, you are dead inside, and you must go watch it right now. Well, finish the interview first.
Okay.
Awesome. And I guess it's fairly safe to say that you guys were one of the first steampunk bands?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. When we first started doing steampunk, it was many, many years ago, and it was really bizarre for us because when we first started to do it, we didn't know of anybody doing it anywhere in the world in any way, shape, or form. And this is how it went down. We had all of these lyrics, I mean, from songs that we had written 10 years previous. We had all these lyrics that were, in fact, steampunk, but we hadn't even...
The Change Cage was written in, what, 2001, I think?
No, early 90s. The Change Cage was written before Abney Park. So the Change Cage is this it's this sort of post-apocalyptic Victorian song. And it talks about these people being imprisoned inside this steam-powered city in the future and being repressed and all that kind of stuff. So when we first did it, we were looking at all our songs and we thought, industrial music is based on this industrial genre, which is industrial design, and Gothic music was based on the Gothic literary genre, which is based on Gothic architecture. So we thought, well, let's start something new and grab some literary concept that hasn't been applied to music before and apply that to our music, and that way we would have sort of this open slate and we could explore what we really are making. And that's when we came across steampunk. So when we first started doing steampunk, we didn't know of anybody anywhere in the world doing it, and honestly, there wasn't that much. This was around about the exact same time that the very first steampunk gathering got together, which was SalonCon. We started touring. We would go and play LA, and we'd be in all of our steampunk stage outfits, and everybody would be like, wow, this is really new and different. The next year, we start to make our loop again and doing all the venues all around the country that we've done before. And now the audience is steampunk. They have sort of joined us in this world. And now, you know, we've been going all over the world for years now. And I mean, like, last weekend? Last weekend, we played Leipzig, Germany for the first time ever.
Wow.
And we had 11,000 people turn up for the show. It was like looking at footage from Woodstock. It was just this sea of heads. Steampunk, goggles, top hats, the whole works as far as the eye could see. It was fucking amazing.
Yeah, I got a steampunk character I'm working on. My little storyline I came up with is basically Da Vinci inadvertently set off the Industrial Revolution with the steam engine. And so by the 1700s, you have airships and steam trains.
See, that's really cool. I remember years ago now, in the early days of steampunk, seeing a whole Da Vinci punk sort of subculture coming up. I think Da Vinci punk is a great offshoot. It's earlier than steampunk in a really cool way. And steampunk is a really good idea, Dan.
I'm glad I said it.
Tell
Too
us
bad
your
the camera
thought.
died and no one was able to see it. Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, what I was saying is kind of caveating off of what Robert had said is because steampunk is such a wide umbrella, there's a lot of interpretation on how you want to move forward with it. For us, definitely the post-apocalyptic look, the neo-tribal, but a lot of people like the neo-Victorian piece. Diesel punk, I think, is really cool because it's a little bit grittier, a little bit more Mad Max-ish.
Well, and here's my take on the whole thing. I love the fact that all of these things could coexist. One of the things that you see most apparent in steampunk culture is this whole time travel thing. If people are going back and forth through time as much as everybody's talking about it, after a while you would have all of these cultures mixed up. Da Vinci punk and all this. You occasionally you'll hear these purist steampunks say, "Oh, it must just be Victorian." I'm like, even the old H.G. Wells time traveler books, they weren't that, because you can't have time travel and stick with one genre. So you're saying H.G. Wells now no longer fits your genre? So yeah, I like the blending.
Yeah, and the steampunk genre, I personally think it's almost as wide open as sci-fi is for interpretation, because you can think about just about anything in that world. But same thing with the time travel and the different interpretations of time periods and things like that. That you really have a clean slate to develop it the way you want to, and to kind of see it in your own vision.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, my one of my old roommates on this similar subject, he actually built a model of a Roman trireme that he turned in to an airship.
Awesome.
Because he built a lot of models, a lot of model airplanes and jets and stuff. And so he used a lot of the old fuselages and spare parts from the jets to make this awesome trireme airship, and it was really cool. And he painted it all copper and brass, and I mean, it's like really awesome detail work on it. But Roman steampunk, who knew?
I keep making these funny faces on camera, listening to you guys talk, and then like a zombie will walk by chewing on an eyeball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw that
like,
earlier when I was
trying
like,
to be all serious, talking.
Yeah.
And, squirrel, exactly.
Shiny.
Yeah.
Easily distracted.
Oh, yeah.
So I noticed you posted on Facebook the other day about you're working on covering some Russian folk music of some sort.
Yeah,
That should be interesting.
Yeah.
That's been stuck in my head for the past 4 days, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So every album we put out, we try to bring in some sort of new style of music, and we're bringing a lot of. And this is not the first time we've done this, but we're bringing in a lot of Russian folk and Russian pop influences into this one. And there's one particular song that me and Christine have wanted to cover for a long time called Katyusha. It's really catchy, and it's a very famous Russian folk song. And we were in Germany last weekend, and we heard this old street performer on his accordion playing this very, very song. So I got out my recorder, and I recorded him doing it, so we can use that as an intro to the actual song.
Awesome.
Which is, yeah, really, really neat. But it's a really, really catchy song, and we're doing it in a really big sort of upbeat way. So I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, really the only Russian musician I know offhand is Vitas.
Yeah. That dude's got a range.
Yeah, as a vocalist, and I did a lot of classical music. I mean, he just irritates the hell out of me with his falsetto and his countertenor. It's like that's stuff my voice teacher was trying to get me to do, and it's like I can't go that high.
Yeah, he does it really, really well. He's also got really great musical arrangements.
Yeah,
I've really loved the stuff that he's done with his musical arrangements. Yeah, I think he's a great artist.
Collaboration, perhaps.
I definitely have the lower range covered. So.
Yeah, that's the irritating thing about him is he's got the low range and the high range, and he switches so easily, and it's just like, you make me feel inferior. So, but cool. Yeah. Anyway, well, we appreciate talking with you. It's been fun. Hopefully, we'll run into you again at some point.
Yep. We'll be around probably.
Day, so. Well. Right.
What the?
Where can people find out more about Abney Park, buy albums, listen to music, etc., etc., etc.?
You can pretty much get our albums everywhere, but our website, abneypark.com, is an easy find, and everything's on there. So there's links from that to all of the, the sites on the series of novels and the sites on the board games and
all the music and all the and the vault link. So.
Yep. So it's all there.
Awesome.
abneypark.com.
abneypark.com. Well, thanks again, and we got more coming from Comicpalooza 2013, so stay tuned.